Live from New York, this is WIUR Radio.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of your New York Sports Update. I'm your host, Ernest Patty, here on WIUR Radio. Now, a lot has happened in the last couple of hours before my episode time today. We are rocking with a new wide receiver up in Buffalo. The Chicago Bears have traded DJ Moore to the Buffalo Bills. Now, the compensation package that I saw was Chicago gets a 2026 second round pick from the Bills, and the Bills get DJ Moore and a 2026 fifth round pick. Now, I think that's a little bit of a steal for the Bills. They kind of robbed Chicago from a couple of picks. I mean, robbed Chicago of a wide receiver and a pick. I think that that trade could have just happened with a second round pick and the wide receiver himself, but I think the Bills are getting a lot more than the Bears. Now, a little bit about DJ Moore. He's been in the league for a total of 7 seasons, and over his time, he's spent some time in Carolina, Chicago. Now he's going to be in Buffalo. He has a total of 131 games played, 608 receptions, 8,213 total yards. Sorry, career yards. Average of about 13.5. I think that's points per game. That's a receiving stat. And then he's got a total of 41 touchdowns. Now, I think he's one of those guys that is going to make a huge impact playing up in Buffalo with Josh Allen. He joins a wide receiver room with a couple of guys that kind of get rotated around between, the wide receiver one role. The Bills had Khalil Shakir, Keon Coleman. Honestly, after that, the names kind of just, aren't big names. But he joins that wide receiver room, effectively pushing those guys down a few places. I think he's going to be a great deep threat for Josh Allen. They haven't really had that in a while. And Josh Allen gets a much needed weapon there in that offense. So, yeah, that was the breaking news of today, this morning, as of around 11 o'clock before I got on the air. But we've got some other free agent news with the Chiefs trading cornerback Trent McDuffie to the Rams for this year's 29th overall pick with a fifth, a sixth, and a 2027 third round pick. This for next year. As well as the Lions traded running back David Montgomery to the Texans for center Juice Scruggs, this year's fourth, and a 2027 seventh round pick. And then earlier in the week, the Texans traded Titus Howard to the Browns for a fifth overall pick. Now, all of these picks are not, trades are not yet final. They have to wait for the new league year to start in a couple of days. But all these teams are able to agree on these terms, and these picks are allowed to go through. But it's not official until the end of next week, or the beginning, the middle of next week. Excuse me. Now, we have a lot of names to kind of highlight or point out as being top draft picks. Top trade or free agent targets of this year. A lot of guys have been franchise tagged, so they can't go anywhere, or at least they're locked in. And then some of the big names coming out of this free agency cycle are going to be the Bengals, Trey Hendrickson, the defensive pass rusher. He Cincinnati declined to franchise tag him, and he is the undisputed number one pass rusher on the market. Even with a few injury bugs he's had, he's one of those top guys in the defensive market there. Next up, we've got Malik Willis of the Packers. He kind of had a pretty good season when Jordan Love was hurt, and on sort of like a fill-in role there in Green Bay. He was a pretty competent quarterback. Didn't have too many, what do you call it? Too many mishaps there. And he was overall like decent at managing the game and filling in when the team needed him. So he's one of those quarterbacks that's going to be pretty sought after because I think a lot of these teams in the free agent market are looking for a new quarterback. And I think he's going to be one of them, as well as Kyler Murray. And then you have Kyler Murray, who's Ravens quarterback. Cardinals quarterback. I don't know what's going on with me today. But the Cardinals quarterback is kind of, one of those guys that's hasn't really found his place. He was great in the first couple of years of his career. And then after that, the Cardinals just couldn't get anything around any help around him. And they just kind of have been underwhelming since drafting him and whatnot. They've kind of failed to produce a competent football team over the years. And so I think the Cardinals are just looking to part ways. A lot of teams tend to blame stuff on the quarterback. And it's not that easy, but unfortunately, he does get the axe there. The Cardinals have officially announced that they will release him on March 11th, and he's going to be probably the most talented quarterback in the free agent market. Tua Tagovailoa is also going to be in the market. Kirk Cousins, who's expected to be released by the Falcons as they kind of pivot in this new era. And yeah, those are some of the quarterbacks that will be, kind of hot targets there. You have Tyreek Hill, who is coming off that terrible dislocated knee. But they released him the other day, and they're looking to shed his massive salary. And it'll be interesting to see what team picks him up. I don't know if the Giants are in the market for a new wide receiver to help out their young quarterback there in Jackson Dart, but could be a big name. Some other guys that are now no longer on the market. You have George Pickens, the wide receiver for the Cowboys. He was franchise tagged at a projected $27 million. That's one heck of a contract for a young wide receiver there. The Jets franchise tag Breece Hall at $14 million, and they're definitely not going to let him go after getting rid of Quinnen Williams and Sauce Gardner. I think the Jets are in kind of a rebuild year, and I think it's actually important to have a very good running back when you're trying to rebuild. Who knows what they'll do at the quarterback position? I've heard some rumors that Tua might be in the mix there, but honestly, it would be pretty cool if the Jets were able to snag Kyler Murray. But Breece Hall is going to be returning. It's also like kind of a sad offense. They don't really have anybody on offense other than Garrett Wilson, and I don't think the team really appreciates Garrett Wilson. So we'll see what happens there. But maybe the Jets, kind of shake things up this season. You have Kyle Pitts, who was tagged at $15 million, tight end for the Falcons. And Daniel Jones received the transition tag, meaning if Daniel Jones were to leave, even though he's coming off that that torn Achilles. Indianapolis Colts have the the ability to match that offer if they so please. I think the Colts are gonna keep him because he was a very he just fit in that offense quite well. Him and Josh Jacobs really kind of took over the league, and they were one of the dark horses for to make a deep playoff push. But once he went down, they just weren't competent with Philip Rivers. Um, so yeah, those are some of the biggest names. There are a couple my dark horses that we'll get into in a moment. We're going to look at which teams have the most cap space, and it's kind of glaring that the Tennessee Titans have either just under or just over $100 million to spend this offseason, which is a crazy amount. If you were to look at the free agency a couple years ago, you would never really kind of expect a team to have this much money to spend. Now, will they spend all of it? Who knows? That's a great, kind of question there to see what they'll do. They don't need a quarterback. They don't need too many weapons. I think they do need some help on the offensive side. Maybe a wide receiver, maybe a running back. And then they do need a little bit of help on defense. But with these new coaches that they brought in, Robert Saleh, uh, uh, the Brian Dable, the Giants' previous head coach. They're looking to build up, and I think, they've got the money to do so. So why not go out and spend it? The Las Vegas Raiders come in at number 2 with 89 million. Raiders are also in a good spot with Tom Brady leading, sort of leading them. They just got the Seahawks offensive coordinator. I can't even think of his name right now, but he's the head coach there. They just filled out a lot of their head coaching positions. You've got the New York Jets with $88 million to spend. Los Angeles Chargers looking to get some offensive O-line help there. You've got the Commanders coming in at 71 million. Seattle Seahawks, Cincinnati Bengals, Los Angeles Rams, the New England Patriots, and the Pittsburgh Steelers round out the top 10 there. And then you've got some other fringe playoff teams like San Francisco, the Indianapolis Colts, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Eagles, further down the list, looking to, standing at around $40 to $20 million with enough money to spend there. Well, it'll be interesting to see what happens with teams now. A lot of teams are letting some guys go and kind of restructuring contracts there to free up money because the salary cap this year has increased. And if you look at it from 2023, just pretty much, technically 4 years ago, the salary cap was at 224 million. Now, when you look at it now, they just raised it to $301 million. That's just around, 80-ish million in the past couple of years. And it's up 22 million from last year. So teams are able to spend a little bit more money, but with these guys, with these players demanding pretty big contracts, that space quickly fills up. So a couple guys that I have, two guys that I've kind of identified as some sneaky good free agents. And even though their names are pretty big names, meanwhile, the second guy isn't that big name, but people in the football space are like, yeah, that guy's a stud, are on the market. Anyway, first up is Rashid Shaheed, former Super Bowl champion from last year with the Seahawks. Despite his success in Seattle, reports from just the other day indicate that Shaheed and the Seahawks are not close to a contract extension. Now, the market value that he would be looking for It's projected he is demanding a deal in the range of 3 years, 42 to $48 million, with some reports suggesting that he's looking, for 18 to $20 million per year, following his postseason heroics. His top landing spots could be the Cleveland Browns, Buffalo Bills after getting DJ Moore. That may or may not still be in the question, and the Las Vegas Raiders. With uh, with a guy like that, you don't really want to mess around not signing him because then you could end up facing him, and he could run up and down the field 4 or 5 times, and put up 300 yards on you. But in his career stats with the Saints and the Seahawks, he's got 59 catches for 687 yards and 2 touchdowns. He averaged 17.5 yards per catch before he got hurt. On punt returns, he's got 23 returns for 339 yards and 1 touchdown. Last year, he led the league in punt return average at 16.2 yards. And in his kick returns, he's got 15 returns for 447 yards and 1 touchdown, and added a 95-yard kickoff return for a touchdown in the playoffs. Now, he's one of those guys that if you pick him up in fantasy, he would, put up a few points here and there. But he has that ability to explode. And if teams want to use him primarily as, a slot receiver, or even, like add him to, their wide receiver room as the wide receiver 3, that is just one of those threats that if you overlook him, the quarterback could be throwing a 50, 60-yard bomb and he would be on the receiving end of that ball. So anyway, he's one of those players that teams, look to, would honestly be stupid to not sign him to a deal. Now, my second player, I'm going to give you kind of like a blind resume of the last 2 seasons. I'm going to give you his receptions, his yards, his touchdowns, and I want to see if you can guess who it is. So this wide receiver has 84 receptions for 1,800 yards and 13 touchdowns. Now he is going to be a free agent in the next couple of days, and every team in the NFL should want him. Who do you think he is? I'm going to give you 5 seconds, and if you can identify him, that's cool. If not, I'm going to tell it to you anyway. Just if you're watching at home, and you happen to get who it is, you let us know in the comments. But I'm going to give you 3, 2, 1. That wide receiver is none other than Alec Pierce. Now, he is sort of the wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 out in Indianapolis. And he's kind of overshadowed by Michael Pittman and Josh Downs, who are the other wide receivers in that room. Now, you also have Tyler Warren out there, the tight end, who was also putting up crazy numbers this year, and was Daniel Jones's favorite target. He was, I think, the tight end either one. He was in the top 3 for tight ends of fantasy this year. But Alec Pierce was one of those guys that if you picked him up in your league, he'd put up anywhere between 15 to 7 points, maybe, if you were lucky. But he is one of those wide receivers that when he's not in a crowded room, he really will excel. And so he's one of those guys that is also going to be a hot target for a lot of teams. Now, that is pretty much all we've got for football free agency. The what do you call it? I'm sure Adam Schefter has blown up my phone a couple times with his Twitter notifications in the past few minutes, but we won't look now. We'll look after and we'll prepare for next episode. But we're going to take you back to some spring training baseball and the World Baseball Classic that has started. And I don't know about you, but I'm so excited for the baseball season to start. If you're a Yankee fan like me, you're just waiting for the impending doom that is the summer portion of the season, where the Yankees tend to slump a lot. But if you've been watching any of the spring training games, you may be thinking, okay, wait, the Yankees are in a good spot. Now, the Yankees have been raking. Aaron Judge looks like his midseason form already. He's hit uh, back-to-back home runs in his first spring training appearance, and he's going to be the offensive anchor in this lineup while also preparing for the World Baseball Classic. We're already in the era of Spencer Jones. Finally, at the age of 32, he's getting his start. But Spencer Jones has been electric. I saw him hit a home run literally over the stadium out in Tampa. And I thought, man, if that guy's not my starting left fielder, then we need a new manager. As much as I'd love to get rid of Aaron Boone, I think they'll make the right decision with Spencer Jones. But he's been in the minors for too long. I think they should have brought him up maybe at the end of last season, but certainly they should have brought him up a while ago. He's been down there, he's been raking, and the Yankees are like, we don't want to do anything with him. But it's time to bring him up now. I think he's one of those guys that's he's like the second coming of Aaron Judge. He's like the second John Carlos Stanton. I don't know what we're doing. But the Yankees, young kids as well, are really showing up. Pitching wise, the Yankees have two really good prospects in their system. They've got Carlos LaGrange and Elmer Rodriguez. Carlos LaGrange, notably, is has been made popular for throwing Aaron Judge 102 mile per hour fastball. And he also averages 100 miles per hour on his fastball, kind of like Paul Skeens. But Paul Skeens is already a starting pitcher and is going to probably get paid $500 billion when he is a free agent or ready for a contract extension. Anyway, in Carlos LaGrange's few starts, he's got 5 innings pitched with 6 strikeouts, 2 walks, and an ERA of 1.59. Honestly, I see him coming up like Cam Schlittler later in the season when the Yankees need some depth and need some help through the dog days of summer. And I'm really excited to see what this kid brings. I love the fact of promoting your young pitchers when they're doing well and when they're ready. I think Cam Schlittler was ready and he immediately lit up the MLB and helped us in the playoffs. And I think Carlos LaGrange could also be one of those weapons. You have Elmer Rodriguez, who came in as sort of a relief guy, and he's got 3 innings pitched with 4 strikeouts, and he needed only 42 pitches in his debut to get to strike out some guys. Now, I am, again, very skeptical, but also very hopeful of the Yankees this season because I want to see them do well. And, I would just love for, these young prospects to just make it in the league. I'm all for, kind of like an underdog story. And I think a lot of these guys would fit that role quite well. Now, for the veterans, you've got Yankees are pretty much held together by Max Fried. He's the only one that's pitching. You have Luis Gil, Paul Blackburn, and Ryan Yarbrough, most notably added to the Team USA roster not too long ago. But you've got all these guys that are returning and filling in for the injured Clark Schmidt, Garrett Cole, and Carlos Rodon. Now, they've all looked pretty okay, I think. Luis Gil, he's been solid over the 7 innings that he pitched. He's got a 2.57 ERA, which isn't great, but it's also spring training. So I get why the numbers are a little, wonky there, but I'm very happy that guys are coming back and they're seemingly healthy. So I'm pretty happy with that. But the Yankees have one of the best records. They're tied with Pittsburgh of all teams at 9-2 in the spring training league. And to be honest, things are looking up. I am happy. And uh, yeah, just kind of eager to see what happens in the next couple of weeks when we officially start. Now, we've got the World Baseball Classic. And the Team USA is a powerhouse. They have so many guys, so many notable names. And to be honest, I am scared for every team that is going to be facing the Yankees. Um, a potential starting lineup for Team USA would be Cal Raleigh leading off, Bryce Harper at second, in the two spot, Bryce Terang. You've got sorry, this is not a starting lineup. This is a starting lineup for where they would be in the field. Sorry, so you've got Cal Raleigh at catcher, you got Bryce Harper at first base, Bryce Terang at second, shortstop. You could go either between Bobby Witt, Gunnar Henderson. Your third baseman's going to be Alex Bregman, left fielder Kyle Schwarber, center field. Come on now, my guy Aaron Judge, and your right fielder would be Corbin Carroll, and maybe Paul Goldschmidt, DH here and there. But that is just a nightmare of a defensive lineup there. And then I don't even want to think about what the offensive lineup would be. But you got Aaron Judge serving as team captain with four former MVPs in Judge, Bryce Harper, Paul Goldschmidt, and Clayton Kershaw. Although Clayton Kershaw makes up the pitching staff, not the actual pitchers. You've got a lot of guys in that team that know how to win and have won. And so, honestly, if I was any other country's team looking at facing us, I would be quite scared. Anyway, you don't have to fear because my Yankees are everywhere. You've got Aaron Judge and Paul Goldschmidt in the heat of the order. You've got closer David Bednar and starter Ryan Yarbrough, key arms in the bullpen. And then you've got Andy Pettit as the man calling the shots for the pitchers in the dugout. Recently, Team USA just in one of their exhibition games with the San Francisco Giants, they won 15-1, where Paul Skeens looked untouchable. That was game one, and then in game two, the Yankees were playing the Colorado Rockies, and now Aaron Judge wasted no time hitting a solo bomb in the very first inning. It was a close game, 5-4 later in the sixth, when the U.S. just exploded with a bunch of guys hitting home runs and basically just shutting down the Colorado Rockies. Now, I did just get a notification on my iPad here that the Yankees are currently losing 7-0. So now I'm a little less hopeful of what the Yankees can do. But we do have a soundbite of Bryce Harper kind of talking about the Yankees not the Yankees, Team USA, and kind of who the big players are in that on that team and in that clubhouse.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he has that demeanor. I think Judgy too, man, like just the way he kind of approaches it. Obviously he plays in such a big market in New York, and he's got to be that guy. Like that's what it is. So there's nobody else I'd rather be, wearing the captaincy on his chest than Judgy. So I'm excited to play with him. I've been excited to play with him the whole time. We got such a great group of guys. I mean, you look at that list right there, man, it's pretty incredible. It's going to be a lot of fun. We got a lot of really good young guys. Pretty good flavor in there as well. Schwarbs.
And so that was Bryce Harper on the Pat McAfee show, kind of talking about the World Baseball Classic. The USA team for the World Baseball Classic, and kind of just talking about who those leaders are and what that's kind of about. Now, the team is made up of a ton of big name guys, especially pitching. You've got Paul Skeens, Tariq Skubal, you've got Logan Webb, you've got David Bednar, like I said, Joe Ryan, Gabe Spear, Michael Waka, and Garrett Whitlock, notably Red Sox wide receiver. Look at me, pitcher. On the infield, you've got Bobby Witt, Bryce Harper, Bregman, Ernie Clement, Gunnar Henderson, and then the catchers: Cal Raleigh, Will Smith, Kyle Schwarber as the designated hitter. Now, look, I mean, if you're one of those guys pulling up to face the U.S., I would be quite scared. A little bit closer to home, once those games take off, they're going to be spread out all over the U.S. But we've got the New York Knicks. Now we don't have much time, but last night the New York Knicks faced the champion OKC Thunder, and the Knicks. It just really didn't go their way. Yeah, they've got some problems. They didn't get a couple calls go their way. We're not going to get into that, but the refs are always against the Knicks when we want them to, when we don't want them to be, right? But last night, Karl Anthony Towns, Jalen Brunson, OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges, and the rest of the team were pretty quiet last night, right? They didn't put up many points, but it was a very close game up until the end. The Thunder were very efficient last night from the three. They knocked down 16 threes, including 6 from Chet Holmgren, while the Knicks only managed 10. And in the final sequence, down by 3 with seconds left, both Brunson and Anunoby had clean looks at the rim to tie, but neither could get the ball to drop. But one good thing was Isaiah Hartenstein. He didn't score a single point in his return to MSG. But his defense and 5 rebounds kind of, helped stabilize the Thunder's interior, and kind of helped the Knicks lose that game. But we've got a clip from Karl Anthony Towns post game, kind of just on their performance, and what it was like to face the previous champions.
Did our best to execute against the championship team. And, at the end of the day, we're going to lose a game. I want to lose with 2 of our best players getting the shots they got and, giving ourselves a chance. And I think you can't ask for, the game to, if you're going to have to beat us, you're going to have to beat us at our best with them at their best on the same night. And, I took the cap to them. They did enough to win the game. And, Jalen shot a fabulous shot. Mikal did an amazing job giving us a second chance. OG took a great shot, good follow through, everything. Just wasn't our night. And obviously you want to win, but I'm extremely proud of everyone in this locker room for fighting and getting those good looks. And against a championship team at the end of the game, it's hard to get a good look like that. And we got 2 of them, so can't be complaining about the shots we got. Did our best to execute.
So that was Karl Anthony Towns after last night's loss. And I mean, look, you can be very, optimistic as a Knicks fan. The Knicks look really good. But, as Jalen Brunson said in his other post-game interview last night, they just new coach, new systems, new looks, and they're just trying to gel. So after hiring, a new coach and everything, it takes a minute to adjust. And so that's what the Knicks are doing. But you could be very, proud after last night's loss that everything was kind of going in the right direction. Well, that is going to be it for this week's episode. Catch us next week, 2 p.m. You won't miss me. Hopefully you tune in, and we'll be talking more about Yankees, Knicks, and everything else that's going on in New York sports. For WIOR, I'm Ernest Patty. Have a good day.